Today I met somebody incidentally from the influencer marketing setup. He told me there are 8.5 million influencers in India. So the definition of an influencer itself is like now changing for me. So today, for a lot of companies, I don't even think brand websites are important and necessary, because the content that the brand needs to say could very well be said on an e-com platform, especially when a lot of this is transactional conversations. What has changed is the influence mechanism has changed a lot, right? Thanks to Google, of course. Everybody is a self-medicating doctor. So there is a lot of behavior that we're able to garner from Google today. Um, and that is really how the environment is really changing.
Hello everyone and welcome to yet another episode of The Growth Genius, powered by Infidigit, the SEO specialists. This is the podcast series where we bring to you growth stories in marketing and business. In today's episode, we have a growth genius whose career has grown across industries, be it BFSI, luxury goods, auto, or healthcare. She leads e-commerce for one of the prestigious pharma brands in the country. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Miss Reethika Nair. Welcome to the Growth Genius, Reethika. Glad to have you on the podcast and thanks a lot for your valuable time.
Thanks, Mehul. Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the first question. We wanted to know, how you define your role at DRL.
So I joined Dr. Reddy's 3.5 years back, and I joined in the capacity of a digital marketing leader within their Center of Excellence team. Today, they have allowed me to continue my passion point, which is e-commerce. From digital marketing, moved into e-commerce marketing, and then today now I look into sales and marketing for e-commerce. So that's my role. There are 182 brands, and in Dr. Reddy's, and it is quite enriching to be basically helping them find their path in the e-channel business.
Great, wonderful. And as we know that pharma today is in a very interesting space, and with the advent of wellness and other categories in the D2C space, how do you get consumer insights, since pharma predominantly is more of a has been an offline marketplace, so to say?
So it still is predominantly an offline marketplace. Yeah, I think I can dare to say that possibly the industry itself, maybe operating at an average of about 10% online, but 90% still is offline. Okay. That said, what has changed is the influence mechanism has changed a lot, right? Thanks to Google, of course. Everybody is a self-medicating doctor. So there is a lot of behavior that we're able to garner from Google today. Um, and that is really how the environment is really changing, because the fact that you're able to get a lot of patient insights, even sometimes when we talk to the doctor, right, which is our primary bread and butter of sorts, right? And we have a lot of insights that we actually garner from the online space about patient behavior, right? And then we're able to confer with the doctor a lot better because we have these insights. And so the doctor is also interested, and the engagement with the doctor also improves a lot when we're able to kind of like pass on these insights, regarding patient behavior. And the other thing is like marketing. I mean, well, the last decade, or maybe I would say even 2 decades, right? There has been a steady surge of digital within our decision making, within our research. So the pharma industry is also evolving quite a bit. So as I spoke about earlier, there's a self-medication trend which has kind of happened. Now, whether that be in product space, like let's say in an e-pharmacy environment, we want to ensure that there's enough and right information out there, right? Vis-a-vis, let's say somebody reading up about very specific therapy areas, you want to kind of like maybe be part of the journey, because the decision really starts on Google today, then probably reaches a doctor clinic, then kind of reaches a environment whereby the doctor is writing a prescription. Even after that, sometimes people require validation, right? And then there is a final purchase which happens. So there is a huge involvement of the digital space, so to say, in the new age pharma marketing systems of sorts. Even like small things I can probably add to the way we do research, right? Earlier the research mechanism was very simple. There was a MR who would kind of either talk to the doctor directly, or probably gather some information from the chemist stores across, right? And that's how we were actually building on research data. Today that's also changed, right? Like you kind of have digital mechanisms to reach the doctor. You WhatsApp him, you kind of email him, you kind of understand what his interest levels are. Did he really see the visual aid that the MR presented to him? What was the engagement level for the doctor for that particular communication? Those are insights, right? Those are insights that you're garnering now digitally. So research mechanisms have also changed quite a bit, right? So yeah, I mean, I think that's the way digital has really penetrated into changing the ecosystem of sorts.
Right, right. And interestingly, so when you say that, there's a lot of influence of digital when you look at the buying behavior of consumers, how much importance do influencers have in marketing a brand, especially in an industry like yours?
So, of course, a lot, right? If you look at all kind of pharma products, right, some of them have OTC variants of it, right, which are milder in nature. Let's say, for example, like a cough syrup, right? You have like a cough syrup which is possibly, a mild dosage and hence could be directly given to a consumer. And then there are cough syrups which are a lot more heavier, where you require a doctor prescription to say that, hey, whether you really need it or not. So the OTC brethren basically were anyways preaching to the consumer, okay, saying that this is the right way to do it. Though the doctor, of course, plays a large role. Today, there are enough people within your social feed who kind of add value to you to make a decision. Now, it depends on the category of decision making, which I mean, it varies. Even finance, for that matter, right? Like you have so many advisors today, whereby there are people who tell you how to invest or what to invest in, where should your portfolio be. These are some things possibly which was never ever discussed in such an open manner. There was always like a, either if you were so worried about your portfolio, you would need to take an appointment with your financial advisor and you kind of got some advice. The influencer today, within a finance space or a health space. Now, again, within the health space, the kind of influencers that we deal with are very, very different. Of course, there are doctors who within the clinics are influencers, but even let's say like nutraceuticals as a segment, there is a nutritionist who is probably telling you like, hey, the nutrition that you're getting from your food is not enough and hence you need to kind of supplement it with other nutraceuticals. It's almost like I want to be careful about the intake of my nutrition levels, and I definitely want to be adequate, if not more. So I definitely think that these influencers are playing a big role. Doctors are acting as influencers, both offline and online. There are a whole lot of influencers, like as I said, right, whether it is the segment or the category that you're talking about. Skincare, for example, huge penetration of influencers. An average product which is bought on Amazon has changed. The ASP of a product from 100 rupees has moved up to a 200 and something odd rupees, 220 or something, only because of the fact that there's a surge of influencers saying that, what, don't use the products which are harmful for you, or don't use duplicate products. It's going to spoil your skin for life. You should, it's okay if you spend that 100 rupees more, but buy the better product, right? So skincare is like a huge space where I have seen the role of influencers can really change the trajectory of a brand. In fact, more than branded content, I would think that influencer based content is changing decision making processes. I was thinking, like, when we speak about Infidigit, the first thing, of course, comes to mind is SEO. And I was thinking that, how does an influencers really like add value there, right? Any point that I self initiate my discovery process, right? Like, And then there is an influencer which is playing a role, because the fact that it is credibility or discredit that the influencer is adding. Let's say there is a brand of shoes that I want to buy. If I search for the item and also look at reviews parallelly, an influencer has a capability to discredit the brand as much as possibly promote the brand. I mean, we recently saw some episodes for some of the noodle companies who kind of went down the route because influencers discredited them, mothers discredit them, mother influencers. So I mean, there is enough power now that influencers have.
It's becoming more and more democratic in a way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was just thinking of adding. Today, I met somebody incidentally from the influencer, marketing setup. He told me there are 8.5 million influencers in India. So the definition of an influencer itself is like now changing for me. Because if anybody who's got a follower set of more than 10,000 starts calling themselves an influencer, then the definition of influencer itself is like really changing. Uh, what is an influencer? Is it just the number of followers, or is it the number of impact of delivery that the person is going to have? That's something I think now a new SEO metric will come in terms of how good that influencer is or not.
So, since you spoke about SEO, just wanted to understand, where do you see organic search in the journey of building a brand in the digital space?
Every step, right? Like I can think of. See, for me, organic search is basically content being discoverable. Today, there is smartness to understand what's a paid piece of content, and what has got organic credibility. The consumer, or people are smart enough to understand it. The Google is of course trying to camouflage that with newer UI UXs, but I think in every stage, like as I was telling you, like look at the healthcare system. Where I have a pain point is when I actually start researching my journey, right? Or when a person decides to buy a car is when they actually start researching their journey. Is SEO only appearing on Google search? No. And for me, basically SEO would be like so fragmented today, right? Like whether it is a product being discovered at the right keyword. Let's say I want to search for a pain balm, right? So whether I start writing by mentioning pain balm, or should I write leg pain, right? And then the product should be discovered, is absolutely the role of an SEO, as task force as such. So whether it is I discovering a product, or building some kind of awareness for it when person is searching for the first stage of discovery, or whether it comes into, let's say, when I'm searching for competition and I'm also being discovered as saying, hey, I'm also available. So at the stage of consideration, can I actually play on keywords and appear next to my competition page? Or whether while somebody searching for me, am I saying the right message at that point, right? Whether I'm able to personalize it and say that I know your journey is, while you're looking for a leg pain, balm like abilities in my product will be really great in terms of pushing that final mile of conversion. So at each step I feel that there is a role of SEO to be played. And look, I mean, trust, today when I play the wear the hat of e-commerce, I understand the role of SEO even more. Whether it is the way I tag a image, and can I actually play some relevance from there, or putting out the title, which has got a lot more richness, or whether it is the product description itself. I understand it at various levels, and thanks to the the marketplaces being so friendly in various search engines itself, if I'm able to get my SEO right within the marketplaces, I'm able to kind of leverage a lot more within the search engines as much. So yeah, so today for a lot of companies, I don't even think brand websites are important and necessary, because the content that the brand needs to say could very well be said on an e-com platform, especially when when a lot of this is transactional conversations. Like as I said, pain balm, do you really need a website for a pain balm page? or do you really need a very rich content page on e-commerce? That's something I think which the journey is changing thanks to the SEO environment on search engines changing.
Yeah, interestingly, you talked about marketplaces, and since we are talking about digital, how do you reach out to your consumers across various platforms, for your products?
So, Mehul, as I said today, the journey really starts with somebody saying that I want, this is my problem statement. Uh, and very specific. So, everybody believes that they have a different or a unique problem today, right? So, personalization is at its core. I don't believe that my mother's face cream or face powder works for me anymore, right? Because I believe that I'm a new age skin, and I have more pollution happening, and probably I'm not exposed to so much of heat, and hence I need different kind of solutions. So my journey really starts from a place where I am building some kind of a personality for myself from the time the person searches for me. So, Google search would be my utmost, prime location of sorts. YouTube, videos is where I, continue to play very heavily. And the other thing which I also think which has changed, in the landscape today and how we're, really thinking about it is if I have very niche a consumer set, right? Let's say, and we do have a brand, which is specific to, let's say, we have a brand which has got a toothpaste which costs 1,000 rupees, right? The market today is probably used to seeing a toothpaste of 100 rupees. So, do I need to talk to everybody who is using a toothpaste? No, I don't. I need to talk to a very niche certain set of thing because my toothpaste solves for a very specific problem. It is whitening for sensitive teeth, right? It's a very niche problem. So do I need to talk to everybody? No, I don't. And for those purposes I need to talk into a medium where I definitely think I want to drive impact. So TV is out of the question because I cannot reach such small numbers on a TV. Thanks to OTT and YouTube bringing their audiences together and giving me full funnel view, right? Thanks to DV360 and partners like those, I'm able to think of full funnel view on digital, right from building impact awareness through video medium, right, OTT, YouTube, to reaching them out through like a content platform with rich media creatives, and then possibly taking them back into an e-com environment, giving them a lot more better product information, and covering this up further, beautifully wrapping it up with an influencer marketing strategy on social. This is the way we are actually like playing largely, I would say. But yeah, I think largely this is the journey, right? You kind of reach out to your absolutely cream audience through, thanks to search triggers on YouTube and on Google, and then you kind of reach them out through content platforms, and then you kind of reach out to them on an e-commerce, so that there is enough familiarity while they reach the e-com platform for them to probably convert better. So that's the journey that we're following today.
Very interesting. And what is your take on AI in marketing?
So I think we are using AI to a very, very small level, largely to develop content. So we use some of the AI tools which are available. We have like licenses, especially when we have to do quick and dirty work, resizing, generative images. Those are the areas that we are primarily using AI with. There's one place where we are experimenting with AI, but we're not completely confidently following through, is looking at research data, right? So there is a ton of data that we get from various places, whether it's the D2C platform, whether it's the marketplaces, and whether it's the marketing data itself, right? And we are trying to leverage on how we could have AI make recommendations basis this data that we have. So we also get shelf monitoring data which tells us correlation between price and sales, competition price and sales. So this is basically the area where we are able to correlate a lot. Sometimes the interventions of manual analysis takes a lot of time. Say, let's say when we, by the time we look at data, it's almost a week later, right? Is there a way that AI could intervene to kind of give us data a lot more quicker? If my competition is probably faltering on something, can I have an opportunity that I can, leverage the very next day? That is something that we are trying to use AI to recommend. So it's like a recommendation engine of sorts. That's what we are right now using it. But the recommendation sometimes which comes in is too mechanical and not implementable. But so there are struggles between what the engine is recommending and what we are able to pull off. But yes, I think eventually we will get there.
Yeah, I mean, initial stages, but I'm sure you see a lot of potential,
Absolutely.
you know, with AI, making business impact.
Absolutely. There is, I mean, we all use AI. It's not something new, right? I mean, there was search marketing, there was, keywords which were anyways being prompted at. There's optimization. Thanks to programmatic, we already used AI, right? Like, programmatic is nothing but like saying, hey, let me find more consumers who are anyways willing to convert more, and let's reach out to them a lot more. So, we were using AI in any case, in some form of it. I think today it's probably the conversation has become so much that you're probably also thinking, hey, what's more I can do with it? So uh, that's where it is.
So you spoke about OTC products and interesting products like high value toothbrushes, etc. So I'm sure that you would be also looking at being visible on marketplaces like Amazon and so on. According to you, how much important are these marketplaces for you, and are there any challenges that you face because of them?
So absolutely critical, right? I was just explaining through the SEO part how I'm important that when the person searches for the category, when the person searches for my competition, and when my person searches for me. So there are all three areas where I have to play a role in being discoverable within Amazon. So the search rank is the utmost importance, I would say. If you're not really there within the top five listings, then like I think there was a statistic which was released some time back. 80% of searchers don't go beyond 10 products, right? So if you're really not there in the top five, you're really not there. So within Amazon and all the marketplaces, search advertising is absolutely critical. Whether with, as I said, the three categories of keywords, I think it's critical. The other important aspect is, and now I think the platforms are also realizing it, that there is an opportunity to build influence at that search point itself, right? So, like for example, when you have these, masthead kind of ads which are on top of search places, Amazon calls it sponsored brands, whether it is a masthead on the homepage, whether it is, Flipkart who calls it a search ad, various places, right? So there is like these strip banners which kind of, so at that point, if you're able to kind of give out a very sharp message which solves for that particular search, then there is an opportunity to actually switch the consumer there itself. And marketplaces are realizing their value while they're doing this, right? I was very clear that I wanted to buy let's say, for example, I wanted to buy a Colgate whitening toothpaste, right? But there I actually saw an ad of Close Up which says I get 24 hours freshness and whitening. Then there is a possibility that, and if in case they're operating in the same price point, maybe I will switch to a different brand and make a different choice at that point. So it's exactly like the POS which happens in modern trade, right? Like when you kind of see something but that was so attractive, a packaging right next to it, or like a promoter who was saying ye le lo because ye better hai. It's exactly that, and marketplaces are becoming stronger there. Areas of pain points which are kind of there in marketplaces today is that they're all becoming like some kind of a walled garden, right? They're not really exchanging data, they're not talking to data outside of their walled gardens. And I think it's one specific marketplace which is almost at any given category operates at around 50, 60% of business, is extremely difficult in terms of the walled garden. So if you look at like the other countries like APAC countries, you have people like Alibaba's who have ecosystems where the entire full funnel is available within it itself. So they have very high reach, like the Googles of India, right? Like, so if you look at the influence level that Google has in today's consumer set is very high. But does that really convert to a purchase today? Not really, because we do lose the person's journey, because once they enter marketplaces, it's like a blind spot. I mean, there are some bit of like UTM tracking possibilities, but largely it's a blind spot because the distraction is so high that you lose the consumer in any case. But if you look at like places like China, the investment wholeheartedly happens into those ecosystems, because the fact that not only do you understand full funnel, you also get your own consumer first party data. So you have access to a whole lot more, and you're willing to then put in a lot more, to partner with them. So it's a very different environment, but I think like today Amazon does not even allow us to have first party data, even if in case you have a seller on board, right? So there is mask data which kind of comes in even when you have. So I think there is a lot of guardedness in that environment. Once that opens up, possibly, so they are also trying to build their awareness funnel through like the Prime TVs and the mini TVs of the world, but still don't have the kind of reach that the Google environment today has. And once the two probably marry, or probably Facebook comes and opens it up, I think with Flipkart, you still have a little bit of openness. I think they've got their audiences which can be taken out into environments like Hotstar, probably like into Facebook. But that is not possible with the same with the other marketplaces. So yeah, I mean, these are some of the challenges I think you face, especially with the marketing side of it. Of course, there are other challenges like how expensive they are to operate on, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Sorry, Ritika, I'm just getting more curious here, and if it's okay with you, can you tell us something about ONDC, the ONDC platform? ONDC is something which is actually coming up and shows some promise in e-commerce today. So, any views on that if you would like to share?
ONDC will be a very big game changer if, in case when it comes to the drug licensed environment. Okay, today there's so much of pharmacists who are more than willing to kind of participate into the e-commerce journey. It's a huge untapped economy, so to say, right? Some of them leverage it, like for example, there's a pharmacy or a some of them leverage it like by creating these dark stores within the pharmacist environment. But if ONDC really comes on board within the drug licensed environment, as I said, see, there are a lot of restrictions when it comes to healthcare in India in any case. So you are responsible for the drug that you kind of deliver, right? So even today, if you probably, I don't know whether you've noticed it, if you place an order with an e-pharmacy, it is the the pharmacist who will write a prescription, and you will get the name of a pharmacist while it is being delivered. So just imagine if this is opened up and you don't have the aggregator of sorts. It is not only savings to the consumer but also savings to the pharmacist. So I think if it comes in, it will be a huge game changer. And the fragmentation will also allow a lot more faster experience. So like right now, I think the fastest that you get is, I think, with a 4-hour delivery gap, right? Which does not solve for areas like acute. When you have a pain in your teeth, you can't wait for 4 hours, right? So e-commerce penetration, because of these challenges, is not able to cross boundaries. But if ONDC comes in and everybody is really like on board and able to leverage the network of sorts, these kind of challenges will be great experiences for the consumer also. So right now, I think e-pharmacies are largely surviving because of the fact that they give out discounts. And if you're a chronic medicine user, ki every month you require that, that medicine dosage. So if in case the e-pharmacy is giving you like that 20% discount, you're obviously willing to move into and shift into that, because you don't have a hurry ki like wo medicine agar aaj nahi aaya to bhi like kal parso aa jayega, it's fine. I think it'll be a huge unlock. And maybe this is what the use cases I'm thinking of. But uh, I can
Yeah,
imagine some, yeah, this will be a different ballgame altogether.
yeah, amazing. And thanks for sharing your ideas on this, Ritika. If you can share any specific growth stories from your illustrious career, something that comes
I
on
have not,
top
I
of your
have don't
mind,
have an illustrious
that'll be
career
great
first.
for our audience.
uh,
Very
illustrious.
varied, but you have been across, you have been around,
Yeah, so I mean, like,
and yeah,
if I have to say
you
the
are being
two,
modest, I would say.
no, not at all. See, I think I'm proud of some things that I did do. So I used to be part of Kimberly Clark
Absolutely.
earlier. And I remember we set up the CRM club, right? A first party database club. Let's just call it that, right? So when there was a time when there were 5 million babies born, rather 25 million babies born in India, and out of which only 5 million were diapering. Okay, this is about say 5 years back. Okay, only 5 million babies diaper, by the way, out of the 25 million babies born in the country. So you can imagine the state of affairs. And out of that, we had a database of 1 million mothers. So the journey to build that kind of capacity and scale was fabulous. If any marketer had that kind of database, literally saying, "Ki, I know 20% of my entire universe," and that too with first party data, that is quite an achievement. I think we did it with multiple interventions. It was not easy. When we started, it was just about doing some kind of sampling initiatives and getting people to share their data with us. And then it was about things like how can you improve consumer experience while sharing that data. So I remember we tied up with Atul Kasbekar and did pregnancy photo shoots to lucky women, because the bump photo shoot was becoming very popular, and to even doing gifts of baby showers. So in India there is the seventh month rasam. So you kind of celebrate it with your close family. So we built out these small kits that you could actually use as party favors, while you celebrate it. So a lot of interventions were done to develop the database, and it was very helpful because you were able to upsell a baby diaper user, because every time what the insight was that every time the person changes the diaper size, and while the baby grows up, he starts from an XS, then moves to a small, then moves to a medium, then moves to a large, and then finally an XL. So every time the size changes, there is an opportunity that you lose the consumer to some other brand, because the sizing issue becomes an issue, and the mother thinks कि the brand bekar hai. So you educate the person to kind of say that, look, this is the way you measure the right size to fit your baby well, and you kind of evolve. So there's lovely stories where you had these consumer insights coming in, and you were able to build some kind of solutions to resolve for those. So CRM database was great because you were actually able to stop the leakage at every size change. Apart from having like programs like upsells and referrals, and that was one thing which I'm very very happy and proud of. And the other thing I think was like even within Dr. Reddy's, right? I'm very proud of the way the e-commerce journey has kind of set up. I think I was at the right place at the right time. The e-pharmacy journey was just about kicking in when I joined 3.5 years back. And now to be, as I said, right, like the
Mhm.
industry average being about 10% of the overall pharma sales is, and especially the bigger companies. I wouldn't say all companies. It depends on like the company mix itself, right? Like as I said, if you're a very heavy chronic company, e-commerce is very big. If you're a very heavy acute company, then e-commerce is that much smaller. But I think I'm very proud of the fact that what we've set up in Dr. Reddy's, like the team and the capabilities. And sometimes when I hear, some of the feedback where e-pharmacies come back and say that, we are leading the way of setting up some of these metrics which were not checked earlier, because uh, you're able to replicate the learnings of what marketplaces had into an e-pharmacy. They value you a lot more, right? And then you're also becoming part of their ecosystem for evolving and helping them grow, which is then nice. So I feel that's something that I'm very proud of.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Ritika. Last question, if you can, inspire our audience and, give us four takeaways, for budding professionals before signing off. That will be great.
I feel one is they're very high on anxiety, right? So keep your calm, please. Things will happen. Things take time to move. Um, so be patient is one big advice I would give for the budding professionals. Be curious. Don't stop asking whys. Ask five whys. I have realized this. So somebody told this to me in a self-help workshop. Five times, if you're able to introspect a why, like, so if you have like a question, I think I'm bored today, why? I think I did not have fun in my presentation, why? Five whys, if you're able to do, you will basically be able to uh, you know satisfy your curiosity, and that is important. Third thing is, I think, please stop working hard, work smart. Don't break your heads by doing the same thing again and again. Try and figure out, can I do this in a more efficient way? So if you're making a PPT on a monthly basis, please try and find ways to automate, or to kind of templatize, so that you don't have to kind of do the same thing. Put your time in terms of reviewing and building analysis, but don't waste your time in terms of doing mundane work. Your time is important. uh, and maybe the fourth one is, just as I said, right, have some bit of vision in life. uh, I understand people go with the flow today, but visions help you make faster decisions. Fail fast, but take decisions and move forward towards your vision. So that's possibly the thing I think I can say.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot for these valuable insights. And yeah, I think we have completed the session now. So thank you once again
Thanks,
for
Mehul. I
coming
hope
on the
I did
Growth
not
Genius.
speak too much.
No, not at all. Not at all, in fact. So, here we come to the end of yet another exciting episode of The Growth Genius, the podcast series where we bring to you content which educates and inspires through the insights of industry professionals. I hope you like this content. And if so, do like, share, and subscribe to us across various social media platforms or audio platforms. The links to all of these are given in the descriptor below. So, till the next episode of The Growth Genius, keep learning, keep inspiring. Thank you.